Following on from the last video about the filters, I'm still up on the Moray coast, but I've left Spey Bay. There were a lot of people about, and that made filming the last vlog quite awkward, and it was difficult to find decent compositions. So I've come round, I stopped off at a couple of other points looking for some spots to take some pictures at, but again there was a lot of people about, and they were quite small areas. I've got the last hour of light now, and I'm at this big wide expanse of sandy beach. The clouds are starting to come in and they look quite good. I'm hoping that this will be a good sunset as well. So I shouldn't get in anyone's way, people shouldn't get in my way, and I shouldn't feel too awkward now that there's such a big expanse between us, between me and everyone else. So the goal is to find a few compositions for the last couple hour of light, and maybe into the blue hour a little bit, depends what I find really. But it looks to be a good evening, so fingers crossed we get something. So I think my first composition is going to be to do with these lines in the sand. They're catching the light wonderfully. So I'm just going to set up and try and get a shot or two off, and then try and find another composition. So the lines in the sand are forming this wonderful leading line, but it's leading to nowhere. Unfortunately, there's nothing really interesting in the background at this spot, but I just love the lines, to be fair. They look amazing. Right now it's ISO 100 f11 1/8 of a second, but as you'll see, it's not the best. It's missing something in the background. There should be something there, I don't know, a lighthouse or building, something, to make it a bit more interesting, but the lines themselves, magical. So I'm just wandering around the beach trying to find some different compositions now. This is quite an interesting spot because there is this wonderful sandy beach and a pine forest. So I'm trying to find a composition where I can get both of those two things together in a sort of harmony. And I think I'll have to be using like a telephoto lens for this. But trying to find something to put in the foreground is proving quite difficult. And the light is fading fast. But the sun is quite nice. Just going to switch out lenses from my 24 to 105 to my 17 to 40 because it needs to be a bit wider for this shot. Lock that into position, and I'm going to get a grad on as well because it's a bit brighter in the sky. Well, that looks quite nice. The light is doing some amazing stuff over there, over towards the sunset. So you know, I'm actually going to put on the polarizer as well. Okay, so that looks pretty amazing. Now I've got it on ISO 100 f11 1/4 of a second, but I am really happy with that. I just repositioned a bit higher to get a different angle on the shot, and it looks pretty good. The light is going quick, the colour is amazing, so I'm actually going to throw on the telephoto and focus in just on that colour in the sky, because I think that might make a nice abstract image. So I'm just going to reposition, set up and get that shot off. So for that shot I'm just exposing for the clouds. I've got it on 1/50th of a second f11, and it's producing, because of the shapes of the clouds, it's producing this really nice abstract effect. So I quite like it, but it's going to be a bit of a Marmite kind of image. Some people are going to like it, some people are going to hate it. I'm going to try one more shot, but I'm going to reposition further down, and I'm going to go back to wide angle. So for this next shot, I'm doing a long exposure using my new 10-stop solid, because there's been a lot of movement in the clouds. I wondered if I could capture the light moving across, get some fluidity to the scene. And so I've sort of zoomed in a bit, focusing on the sky. I've cut out the foreground elements of the sand streaks, and I'm just hoping that with a 30-second exposure I can get some movement in the sky. It's interesting, I'm not gonna lie, it's interesting. I like this little glow that's appearing on the edge of the water. So the colour's going fast, but it looks quite nice. I've sort of repositioned very slightly. I've got more of the town, and there's this sort of S-curve, but I think the channel's a bit wide. It's quite a nice super wide scape, but I'm going to switch to portrait and try that, because you just can't see the town enough. So let's see how this looks. Again, I'm still doing long exposures now. I'm at 30 seconds f4 ISO 100. I'm curious to see what this image looks like. I'll put up both the landscape and portrait versions, and you can let me know which one you prefer. I think the portrait one is going to be a better composition, but I think the water's coming in and the sand is getting squidgy. Let's head back towards firmer ground. just got lower for that last shot, just to try it out to see what it looks like. So I didn't really have time to perfect the settings. So it's f16, 0.3 seconds, ISO 100, and I'll just see what they look like on the computer, to be honest. Fingers crossed they work out well. As I said before, now it's back to terra firma. The day is not done yet. I'm still looking for compositions. There's still a bit of light. There's some interesting colour behind me, but you won't be able to see. I'm not sure what I can get at the moment, but you know, as long as there's light, there's the possibility of photography. And even when there isn't, there's the possibility of photography. I do think this is a very pretty little town, but I didn't do it justice today. I know that. I definitely want to come back. I always like coming over this way from the mountains, to be honest. As I said earlier, I want to try and get this... Ooh. That was funny. So, as I said earlier, I want to try and get this forest and sand dunes together. I'm just trying to find something to put in the foreground. So what I've tried to do is get a reflection of the trees in this water as the foreground element, and the exposure is looking quite good at 4 seconds at f11. It's quite interesting because these trees are literally sticking out of a dune, so I think they'll look quite good. Got another shot, quick. A portrait. There's some nice squiggles of this, probably some fresh water running through the sand, which is providing a nice leading line to a beautiful sky in the background. I've got my 4-stop soft grad on to bring in the highlights a bit and to balance it out, and I'm really happy with the result, to be honest. And it's about 4 seconds at f11 ISO 100 again. Yeah, the water's definitely coming in a bit, so this is the last one for tonight. The light's going down quite fast. I'm struggling to find compositions now, but there is this mountain feature that has just got this wonderful glow behind it. Even with the telephoto, I've got some foreground interest here. So I'm going to reposition slightly. So I'm focusing on the distant object, the mountains, and I've still got an exposure of 4 seconds. But it's not the best. I needed more time really in this spot to find compositions. Just a little bonus one for you on my way out. I've got a nice reflection of the sky in a couple of wavy patterns of water, and the village on the right hand side illuminated by lights. I quite like it. It's nice and simple, but it's just a little bonus. Thanks for sticking around in this video. I needed a bit more time in this spot, as I just said, So let me know in the comments if you like the images either way. I'll be curious to know which one was your favourite. I will come back to this spot because I didn't do it justice at all. I was battling against the light there. I left it a bit late getting here. But there is a lot to be done here. So I am definitely going to return, probably in an early morning setting, and try that out one day. I was quite surprised with how the sunset turned out. It was clear skies all day, so those clouds coming in really lifted it and gave it a bit of interest. As always, if you've enjoyed today's video, please don't forget to subscribe. There will be more coming up soon. Hopefully something different, maybe something in the mountains. I haven't been up in a while. Stay tuned.